Back to order. Meeting to order. Supervisor Aldal, if you don't please pledge. Ready to begin. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, we pray this day for your ever-enduring guidance. We ask you, cloak us in wisdom and fortitude, that we may disperse our knowledge and facts intelligently among all humanity of whom we serve. Amen. Alrighty, we'll start off with announcement of items discussed in closed session.
Mr. Chairman, the board met in closed session to discuss significant exposure to litigation. There was no reportable action.
Okay, we'll move on to agenda approval, additions and/or deletions.
Mr. Chairman, I would request that we adjourn the meeting today and continue with Norman Carroll from Aiden. And with that, I would move approval of the agenda with change. We go into, help me out here, Richard. We continue our closed session.
Right, we will continue we'll go back into closed session at 10:25
10 to 25.
to discuss item 1, conference with legal counsel for significant exposure to litigation.
Okay, so looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Oh, sorry.
I'll second it.
Okay. Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll move on to public comment portion of the meeting. This is an opportunity to talk about anything you'd like. If you're here to talk about a specific agenda item, you can talk now or wait until the item comes up on our agenda. So anyway, okay, we'll start off. We have a request from Eileen Spencer.
This is in regards to the animal control. Last week, the firm of Price Page stated that Lassen County had over $4 million in discretionary funds, and my understanding was that these were funds that were not earmarked for any budget. The Animal Control Fund 100, budget 527, currently has enough money to start reconditioning and resurfacing the main kennels at the original kennels out on Johnsonville Road. The budget expenditure will have no fiscal impact with the current $4 million surplus. In fact, what I'm proposing is already in your 2013-2014 budget. Presently, the current condition of the kennels put not only staff at risk, but the animals also. The kennels, the fronts of the kennels do not reach the floor and allow small dogs to escape. They've had a lot of incidences out there that the little dogs can get under the kennels and the big dogs then gobble them up and kill them. And there's presently the old kennels, and I show you before and after there, the before kennels, the original kennels that they don't use anymore were scheduled to be remodeled in order to put quarantine dogs there. So it has to be safer for staff handling these quarantine dogs. Some of them can't be handled for 10 days. I mean, you feed them, you let them go outside, but it puts the staff at risk because of the present physical condition of the kennels. I had plans drawn up. Larry Millar and Acting Supervisor Donna Hasty have already reviewed these plans. I didn't make full sets, but I did show you what the kennels, I did include in your packet kennels the way they are presently in the old section, and what the proposed kennels will look like after the remodel. The stainless steel fronts to the kennels go to floor to ceiling, so it's safety for the dogs, easy to sanitize, and safe for staff. So I'm here today to ask you to put this on the agenda next week so we can get started on the remodel. Lassen Animal Rescue will be involved with this. We paid, I think it was $1,200 for these plans for the remodel, and so that's going to help move it along quickly because they already have plans to do this. This is all budgeted. We just have to get it on the agenda, and so we can start on the remodel as soon as possible. So if you could put this on next week's agenda, we can get this approved and get started.
We don't have a meeting next week.
Or the week after, the week after.
Yeah. It sounds like a reasonable request. I don't know much about this, but what's the pleasure of the board? That's fine, okay.
June 10th.
June 10th would be great.
Eileen, who paid for the plans?
I did it.
Generously, thank you.
And we're gonna be involved in providing the cost of whatever we can. I think when I originally talked to Larry last year, we were gonna, Lassen Animal Rescue, we're gonna put the outside pads in. The idea is to enclose the outside areas because where the old kennel sits, they get snow, a lot of snow on one side. And so we wanted to put roofs on it and cover the kennels. So we'll cover the cost as much as we can, but I can't make steel front kennels. I gave you a picture of the ones that Donna Hasty, who is the acting supervisor out there, and Larry, we brought them a whole bunch of types of kennel fronts, and this was the one everybody liked because it was the safest and easiest to clean. And the manufacturer of these, for the fronts to the original kennel where we want to move the quarantine dogs out away from the regular dogs, it's going to be about $4,000 for those fronts. That's just the steel fronts. Goodbye, Tom.
See you later. I think I kicked this again, no I didn't.
No, they have,
Wasn't me.
So, thank you. We'll do another presentation on the 10th for you. There's a lot more information we can give, but I wanted to get it on the agenda so we can talk about getting, when we can start doing, there's a lot of work that has to be done out there. You can see on one of the photos of the main kennel, there's no reseal. So you have to have all of that cleaned and resealed so the distemper, parvo, anything dogs, the unknown dogs that come in, you can sanitize. And right now it's just really bad. And it's not safe for staff either. It's really bad. And Bob, I don't expect you to vote on. I know you don't like dogs. But I'd like to move this forward.
If I don't like dogs, how come I have between me and my son 7?
You have 7? Okay, so you're gonna vote for this, that's good. Thank you.
I just have a different means of controlling stray dogs that are killing my.
I know you kill them, but there's other ways.
That's, we don't need all that. Okay. Alrighty then. Okay, thank you. Anyone else under public comment? Okay, let's quickly take up our unagendized board report. Supervisor Hammond.
I was participated in a meeting with Head Start and Port Sage, and they're angling towards getting the Head Start opened up in Furlong, and Melody, I'm sure they talked, Melody's not here.
She left for
I'm sure that they've spoken with her, but there's talk of some money becoming available to get to assist the preschool. And they will come and make a presentation to us probably within the next 2 weeks, which is all good.
Thank you, Tom.
I have nothing.
Supervisor Chapman?
I just had one thing, and that was, yesterday was the Memorial Day ceremonies. I was able to attend the one at the old cemetery as well as the Diamond Crest. And I think the board should extend its appreciation to the public works staff. And I think our cemeteries have, over the years, we've had up and down in terms of experience, but I tell you, they have not looked better than they have these last few years. And yesterday, it looked really special, and with the weather being as cooperative as it was a nice program out at Diamond Crest. Todd down at the VSO and the veterans groups did a tremendous job, and I think we should be very appreciative of their efforts. And I just want to make sure the board was aware of and appreciative of that.
Thank you. Thanks. Aaron?
No report.
And I have nothing to report. Thanks. So, I think what we'll do is, I see item H2 pertains to bullseye, and I see the Glenn's here. I'd like to take that up, and that way you guys could get on with the rest of your day and
Okay.
get back to work.
Morning, gentlemen. My name is Tom Glenn, or Old Tom Glenn. Basically, I'm gonna do a little timeline here, and it goes back to 2 years ago today.
Can I, sorry, I should have gave a bit, can you give a bit of what this is about?
Yeah, Supervisor Alba had requested the item on the agenda to discuss the use permit as it applies to the current operations at Bullseye Recycling and its consistency with the existing use permit. Supervisor Alba.
I think, yeah, before we, sorry, I jumped the gun. Before we begin, I should give Supervisor Alba the opportunity to discuss or bring up any issues. Thanks, sorry about that.
The reason I brought this up was, as I stated last week, is I was on the planning commission for a long time. This issue come up with the vehicles while I was on the planning commission, and then a transitional board. And throughout this whole process, the Bullseye Recycling was recycling cars. They were in the process of squishing, and selling cars, cleaning up the community, which nobody had a problem with. But the problem was, is the use permit did not allow the recycling, dismantling, wrecking the cars, etc. This whole thing come to a head, and it was in September 18th of 2012. They appealed the decision by the planning commission to revoke their use permit to the board of supervisors. At that time, the board of supervisors overruled the planning commission and so that they could continue with their recycling program. Within that, I recalled that there was to be no vehicles, and I went back and I looked at the minutes, listened to the tapes, and I was under the understanding that there was going to be no more vehicles. I mean, Mr. Glenn III said he was done with the autos at the September meeting. That if he had cars, he'd just put them on car carriers, but he was going to quit taking cars. Mr. Hanson, he was willing to put the car thing behind him at this particular location. Wassick, he said that they were finished with the auto stuff. The motion was made by December 31st of 2012 that all their autos would be removed. Moving forward into January, the authorization to operate was amended to contain no vehicles. And so I was assuming that there was to be no vehicles involved whatsoever. But then, in doing more research, and I was informed by the county that no matter what they're in, and what the Glenn said that they were doing, that they still have the right to buy and sell cars by right within the county. Help me out this morning here.
Yeah.
You can help me out if I'm wrong. They can still have the right to buy and sell cars as long as they are doing nothing to them. They're not draining oil, They're not switching, they're not switching, etc. They have the right to do that. And so with that, I mean, by right, they have the right to do that. I was going by what was said in here with if there was no vehicles. And so apparently there was a miscommunication by my assumption and my interpretation of it. And so with that, I will stand corrected. And if there is something we need to maybe re-agendize this with, to get the Glenns and the county involved to get that clarified or rectified for everybody, that might be more appropriate than to go forward with the revoking of the use permit. So I will defer that to you guys, if you guys would like to get that clarified, or Maury to get that clarified, or Richard, however we want to get that clarified, so that we can put this to rest and move on.
Before we begin.
I still have a couple of comments.
No, yeah, we just need to start off. Sorry about that. Okay, before we go to the public, is there any comments from board members? Okay. Yeah.
And let me skip ahead with my timeline. But as you said, my son said, I won't crush another car, but I will top load him on a high side. That's what he's done for the last 2 years. And come on, you buy a car, you can't change oil in it. We're permitted to do that. He's got every permit you need. He's the only yard in the whole county that is in compliance with the stormwater. Only one. So we will, if it's legal to do, we'll do it. If it's illegal, we won't do it. But I want to skip ahead to the permit that was issued, which we had to fight to get. And it's dated 12/26/12, signed by Galen Norwood. And it says it reverts back conditions to operate 10/3/09, which there was no exemption of cars. Then we'll jump to your first meeting ever, January 8th. You read out the first thing on the agenda. I want their use permit reworded to not include cars. You try changing the facts after the facts. Like I say, there's a paper trail as wide as Main Street out there. We've done everything that he said he would do. He went up and bought a $75,000 piece of real estate up the street, correct zoning, M1. He sends his manager, Bob Snyder, into the undevelopment. 29, 30, 40 conditions. Brian has, at Susanville Towing, has 4 conditions for a dismantler's yard and an auto record. You want him to have 40, they have 4. They're not in compliance right now. They have no containment for down there crushing cars. Nothing's legal. They got oil probably running into the Susan River. But my son behind me is the only one that actually has a stormwater permit through law and quality control. Also, the property he's on is the only piece of property that touches the airport. It is not M1. He's at the end of the runway. The easy thing would have been to change the zoning. You're doing it proper. We did 12,000 cars. There was never a problem. The only complaints were created by a department. And you know which department, and I know which department. And then we get to the, you guys are on the car thing, but Lassen County is suspended from vehicle abatement. Lassen County Sheriff's suspended from the auto theft DUI. Why? The state lady told me misappropriation of funds. You've been suspended since, let's see, 6/30/13, effective July 1st. This has been kept quiet for a whole year. Here you're griping about a program. We're not allowed to, the only car we can buy has got to have a junk slip on it. Then it does not constitute a vehicle, okay? Or it has to have a title and or be currently licensed or not. We turn down 60 cars a month right now. 2 a day. Because they have back fees on them or whatever. When we were allowed to crush a car, we were exempt from that. There's an exemption in there. So there's 60 cars a month stacking up that we can't accept. The only thing we do is buy a legal car that we're allowed to buy. And now we're clear around, and threats of arrest back then, me and Bob Snyder, now me and Bob Snyder being threatened with arrest again. This whole thing needs to be stopped. I mean, you can change the zoning. I think Mr. Egan has an alfalfa field that's next to the airport that's zoned in one, if I'm not mistaken. You need to really look at the zoning of Johnsonville, especially where we're at. And at the end of the airport, and, you know, he does a good job at everything. I think it was Mr. Chapman that said we need to go with this guy. He seems to know what he's doing and takes care of what he's doing. And me, I'm here to take care of my family. So that's what it's about. And, you know, you guys, I know you can make the zoning right, and I know you can make the conditions right. He has the ability, he has a $200,000 building to do everything right. Everything's under roof like it's supposed to be. He's bent over backwards. But we're not getting any respect from supervisors, anybody else, for what we've done. You know, like I say, 12,000 cars under his belt, never a mishap. I thank you, gentlemen, for your time.
Do I have a question?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, for the record, I certainly respect you guys' efforts that you've done there for the community. I know when you guys were crushing the cars, I don't want to debate, whether it was committed, we've already talked that talk, but it was definitely a service the community needed, and it was well documented that, the sheriff's department, the county, or, were bringing you cars to crush, and it was a service well needed. So separate to this, so I think I'd like to have an item, an agenda in July where we could come, because there is a need to have a car crushing facility, in the county to clean up the mess. And I'd like to put that on the agenda for July, where we could have a discussion about how we could best achieve that, if at all, or maybe not, maybe we can, maybe we can't. I think it's important that for Lassen County to have a facility to be able to do that. And like you said,
I have one
there's
other-
a lot of cars that were being crushed and the community being cleaned up, and now it's not happening anymore.
I think we might be able to discuss that today in our review of the overall department in a general sense.
Good if we could do that. I mean, it would be appropriate if we could get the Glynn's, Brian Phillips, the Knight, Alan Doyle, have them have some input on this too, so we're doing it right.
I have one other comment. I mean,
Confusion.
my son had to pay $235,000 to the worst gun department in the state of California, Cal Recycle. If it's about money, you guys just tell us how much. I mean, if that's what it takes, it seems that's what everything seems to be about. Like I said, you need permit money, whatever you want, but we're not going to deal with 30, 40 conditions when nobody else has them. And we were set up to do it properly. We're still set up to do it properly. And thank you again.
Okay, we'll continue to take public comment on this item, and that's Steve. Violet, did you have your?
Yeah, you want to tell?
Sure.
I don't really care who crushes cars, him or whoever, but.
We just need your name.
Oh, Monty Stout, for the record. But I recently tried to donate a vehicle to the blind, and they won't come here. It's not, worth their time or their money, whatever. So, no, it says 1-800 donate cars and all that. They won't come here and crush cars. We need them. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else? Violet?
Well, they advertise for the blind all the cars, but when you call them, or if the TV has it on, they won't take them. They do not take them. So, let's start a junkyard in Susanville and smash the whole thing.
Okay, anyone else? Alrighty, so is there any more discussion from the board? Okay, so as far as are we gonna have a separate, you mentioned there's something today coming up?
We've got a review of the department today, that's a big packet. We've got, I think that would be an appropriate topic for that, part of that item. Or we could agendize it on its own at a later meeting.
I think it's D5. Progress report. I think it's a
Yes.
separate.
Yeah. We're gonna touch on this issue at the 1 o'clock time certain, if you guys would
I could
like.
say one thing, it seems like if
Just say your name, Director.
Thomas Glenn III, if you flip back through county archives and board of supervisors meetings, whatnot over the last 10 years, say out of the top 10 issues, 3 of them come to mind, and that's the South County rehabilitation as far as Herlong. You got car abatement or vehicle abatement, you got the swimming pool. And you know what all 3 of them probably have in common? None of them's ever gonna happen. Because of just red tape. County, I mean, it's crazy. So I, like my dad said, I've tried to work, bend over backward, and it's like Groundhog Day in Lassen County. Here I am 2 years from the date, at the same, basically, waste of my time, I'm probably up here wasting my breath. And enough is enough. I mean, if I got to, I'll just put in, if it gets down to it, I'll just put in for another use permit. I'd like my dad said, is that what it's about? You want $2,500 for another use permit? I didn't bring my checkbook, I'll write you a check. What's really going on here? So, anyway, I guess that's all I got to say. And it's time to quit talking about whatnot. The county's vehicle abatement, the counties had the money sitting there, and then it's year after year, meeting after meeting. You gave it to the undeveloped department, you gave it to the sheriff, back to the undeveloped department, and I think in 2008 Chapman said, we've been working on this thing 8 years and we still haven't gone anywhere. We're at 2014, we're having the same discussion. We were in 2012. I mean, the same with Herlong, haven't got anywhere. Still just sagebrush and empty houses and junk cars. Swimming pool. My granddaughter turned 2 years old this September. I would doubt she sees a swimming pool by the time she graduates 8th grade. Because nobody's doing nothing about it. Or wants to talk. Enough talk and get some stuff done. Bring people like private business owners in here. Like I said, waste of my time. I should be sitting in the truck or picking up junk or something somewhere, and this is what I'm doing. Like the pool, where they try to put, it's taken almost a year to put and I want a pool, I like to see a pool. Like I said, I was born here, raised here, my family's here, but what's been almost a year to even set up a JPA or whatever? Now it's a big fight over the land. So I'm off a little bit on the subject, but I'm just saying, that's,
Right, we hear you.
Quit squabbling about stuff and let's get some stuff done. Thank you.
For your comments, yeah, thanks. Okay, anyone else? Alrighty, okay, so we'll move on. Thanks. Thank you.
So, did you guys want us back at 1 or somebody back?
If you'd like to, that's gonna be part of our 1 o'clock, we're gonna talk about that, yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay. All right, we'll take up item D2, the 10 o'clock time certain for the Sheriff's Department.
I'm gonna go grab the dog, I'll be right back.
All right, so I'll fill in the blank, I guess, while he's grabbing the dog. So this canine program, we've been working on it for about 3.5 years since I became sheriff. We put a lot of work into it. There were some issues we needed to resolve with the bargaining units, some MOU issues related to caring upkeep for the dog and so on. We had to build policies. We had to find a proper, find the dog, find a trainer, provide the basic and ongoing training. And so it's been a great deal of work. And on the other side, we set up or work on setting up a nonprofit with members of the department and members of the public working together to raise funds to support the program or to help us get it off the ground and hopefully maintain some of the costs moving forward. Got a lot of donations from the Monty at the Treats Dog Food Company. They're providing all the dog food. He has a donation can there for the Canine Association, which has helped raise money. He's hosted dog washes and car washes where all the money from the dog washes went to the Canine Association and the deputies went down on their own time to wash cars and raise money. So it's been a great community effort. You know, Brandon